what's your relationship like, especially that 2017 Ruby with Jason? Is there anything there? Because it almost seems like it's entirely you and Lenny the whole way through.
Well, I mean, I've said this before in videos. Jason, no matter what, he'll always have a soft spot in everybody's heart. You know, even like when PJ, helped him out. What cost Jason, I believe, this is my opinion though, what cost Jason the 2017 Ruby, the conditioning, because he started out, he was doing really well when he was with Coach Karen, and I love Coach Karen. She is fantastic, one of my favorite people at Blackstone Labs, and I love talking with her after the show. But her, Cody Montgomery, they were all in his corner, pushing him, and he was doing very well. But when he made the comment about Rich Piana, that's where I think, because Blackstone had to cut ties with him, that's where Jason just plummeted, because he didn't have that support that he had before. And I believe if that comment never would have came out, Jason would have actually done very well. I mean, he wouldn't have. He would have done better than what he did. He would have come in a little bit more in shape than what he did, because he was doing really good, and Jason, I have cousins that are just like Jason, and there's a soft spot in my heart for him because of that. I mean, and he would call me at night, 11 o'clock at night, and start asking me about YouTube subscribers and how much money he can make here and there. And I would just sit there and talk with him, because a lot of times you have to do that with people like Jason. Jason, he knows what he's doing. He means well, and he's a good guy. I actually like him. I love his mom. His mom, Jane, she is great. And
I never met Jane, but she looks like a really, really cool.
She's a firecracker. Jane's great. I've always enjoyed being around her, and I've enjoyed being around Jason. It's just sometimes Jason gets so caught up in the social media game, and it's fun for him, but he doesn't realize what everybody else sees, how he's being, how he's doing, what he's doing. He don't get that. He just thinks it's cool to make videos, and he just sometimes lets his mouth go, and all of a sudden it gets him in trouble. But he's a good guy. I don't have nothing negative to say about Jason. He can annoy you. Don't get me wrong. He can annoy you worse than anybody in the world. But at the end of the day, you look at who he is and what he's about, and you just let that stuff go. You push it to the side.
No, definitely.
I think Jerry Ward was saying kind of the same thing about Jason, how he would do with him and how he talked. And then I know Jerry Ward and Rich Piana were friends. I know they've talked about whenever Rich Piana slapped Jason that, Jerry talked to him, and Rich Piana thought that it was an act. And then he finally realized, oh, man, it's not an act. This is real life.
My only thing with Jason is I don't like when websites or publications or radio stations or whatever use him, because he does draw hits, and I just don't like that. But that's why when I interviewed him, I made sure that Prince Andrew was next to him, just in case, because I think Jason's very, very smart, but I think he's impulsive. Yeah. And I think that's what happened with the Rich Piana thing. He got impulsive, and I don't think Jason would ever say anything intentionally to hurt someone's feelings. I just think he might say something quick and not realize it. Let's talk about Jason though, because moving away from the Ruby, this is actually the next question.
Okay.
Yeah. Jason Genova's the Sith Lord's social media woes. I guess he's back from what I understand. He has an Instagram, but it's not Lord Vader 25 anymore. He was actually off of all social media. Do you think that Jason should be off of social media, or do you think he should be on it? And is it his family's decision, or should it be his decision?
Well, I think Jason should be able to be on it. I think it should be his decision, but I think he should really have somebody to really sit down with him and go over things that he should do and shouldn't do. I mean, because he gets trolled so easy. I mean, we all get trolled. Trust me. We all have trolls, but the trolls will trigger him so easy to have him do some of the dumbest stuff in the world. Like all the mushroom cap video, all that stuff that he's done. And it's just because he gets so sucked into social media, he believes these guys, and they know they can do it. And it was a good thing for him to have a break. And I think he should definitely get back on social media, because when he does his, just Jason random funny stuff, like that's what actually drew me to the Misfits is his video, when he was talking about, triceps work or hammer curls work your triceps. That's the funniest stuff I ever heard in my life. And
Complete opposite.
really,
Yeah, biceps.
that's really how he was and how he thought, and it was hilarious. That side of him, everybody loves. It's the, hey, I'm a CEO, rapper, baller. I make $20 million. That's the side that people just get tired of. But the problem is he just keeps on and on and on, and everybody just attacks him on it. And he just don't know how to just let it go and stop it. So, yeah, he should have a social media, but he should have somebody that really cares about him and monitor what he's doing. Not let him just go out here and do the stupid stuff that people are sending him to do.
Everybody protects Jason. In fact, some of the trolls, Dale, I think I don't know if it's like half the trolls, a quarter of the trolls, but I do believe that some of those trolls actually really care about Jason a lot too.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I would tell you this, between Brad, Nate, and Andrew, those and Lenny, those four right there have probably been Jason's biggest supporter, and they've been through so much crap because of Jason that, right now, no, they don't have the time. They have their own lives they're doing, their own stuff they're doing. But, they stick up for Jason no matter what, even though, there's times when, he has been completely wrong, but they've stuck their neck out for him and they stick up for him. And it's hard to have people like that in your corner. And, they've always stuck by him, even though the crazy stuff he's done. If you look back at it, you look back at the old Misfits videos and stuff, he's always been a part of it. And before, Prince Andrew was helping Jason with all this stuff. And then Jason, had a time where he's like, I'm done with the Misfits and, they're using me. And it's like, no, y'all are pretty much feeding off of each other. The Misfits aren't the Misfits without Jason. Jason isn't Jason without the Misfits. As for the longest time, that's how it was. And a lot of those old Misfits videos, I mean, those are some of the best videos I've ever seen. And it's non-scripted, just how they were. And those videos are what got people like me, other Misfit maniacs, involved with the Misfits because of how they were and what they were, and because of Jason's shenanigans. That stuff, that's what, if the old world gym could open back up and they could all be there at the same time, it would be, they would be YouTube mega millionaires because of that. And it's just one of those things that we all miss that. It'll never happen again. But, those guys right there is what made, they helped make Jason who Jason is, and Jason helped them the same way. And Jason just, those guys have always looked out for him, and he should be thankful for that.
Yeah, the magic at that gym is never going to be recreated. It's like Gold's Gym in the 70s with Arnold and Franco and Zane. You can't like recreate that, And what I think is interesting too is that at that gym, also in other gyms, but like even the people, like I remember there was like some trainer in dreadlocks who was like trolling Jason. Saul or Big Richard, people like that. The interactions between Big Richard and Jason, it's like, yeah, you can't recreate that, No. The thing too with Jason's social media also, I think, is that, the ments, the whole like sub language, the lingo, it takes on a form of itself. But like you said, he almost needs somebody to monitor him. Some people have floated the idea of Jane doing it, but Jane, I don't think Jason takes his mom seriously enough you need to have somebody that would just almost have like a kill switch to say, okay, that video is not going up and that one is, and I don't know who that would be, but I just, it was sad to me that they would, that his family, and again, who am I to have an opinion, but I'm just saying it's sad to me that they take away his social media because, that's like something that he really like enjoys, that's like something that makes him happy. The only thing I will say that I don't like is when I see like rinky-dink websites or whatever, using him. We've seen some of these like nameless kids use them. And I also don't like when women kind of tie their hitch a ride with the Genova wagon. Like if a woman wants to get known by being associated with Jason, that's probably like a really bad idea. But at the same time, like, it just makes me sad. Like, if he like develops feelings or thinks like, wow, this girl likes me, but reality, who knows if she
Yeah.
likes him and they just want the clout, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think we both know who you're referring to on there.
Well, no, but there have
She'll
been
remain.
several though. There have been
Yeah.
several.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, and that I agree with you on that. I don't like when they try and do that. I mean, people say that about me and Lenny. It was never for me to go be famous. I actually really liked Lenny. He was my favorite character, and I got to meet. I was like starstruck when I met Brad and them the first day. It was mind blowing for me to meet them,
yeah.
and it's just people are like that. The first time I met Jason, he come up to my hotel room at 4 a.m. Drove all the way over there, woke me up to come over there and meet me. And the first thing I said is like, wow, this guy's actually bigger in person than what I thought.
That's what
And
Jerry Ward said too. When Jerry
yeah,
Ward met
wow.
Jason, he was like, wow, he's like bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was kind of shocking to me because I didn't think he was that big, but he was bigger than what I thought. Same thing with Brad. Brad was a lot bigger in person than I
Oh,
thought.
Brad's a big dude. I
Yeah.
don't think he'd ever do a bodybuilding show. He's a pretty big dude. Andrew's not a big
Yeah.
dude in the sense that he's not like dense, but Andrew could do like men's physique or classic. He doesn't have much fat, and that's a big plus, because if you don't have much fat, then all you really have to do is gain muscle. It's actually harder, I think, to lose the fat and gain the muscle. You know.
Yeah.
And while we're on this topic, I can ask you a couple other questions too, because the idea, like I said earlier, Jason would almost need a coach that was like handcuffed to him. He worked with Tony Huge. I was totally thrown off by that. Because he'd worked with PJ, he'd worked with Adam Harper, he'd worked with Coach Karen. I was surprised that Tony took him on. Do you think Tony thought that maybe he would be like the one guy, the one coach that could actually transform Genova?
I think Tony thought the same thing that everybody else did. Yes, that he could be the guy to do it. And I mean, I'd love to work with Tony Hughes. That'd have been a cool thing. I mean, I know him with Decon and everything, but that would have been cool just to get a different aspect, a different, side of that whole business, and Jason, just the opportunities he had, he squandered them, which really is terrible because, to have Tony Hughes, PJ Braun, Coach Karen, Adam Harper, have all these people take their time, not charge him anything, give him all this stuff and just throw it away, man. I mean, people would kill for that.
Yeah.
And, I thought when I seen him and Tony going at it, I said, well, if anybody could do it, it would be Tony, but Tony would have to move in and live with him, just sending him stuff. Jason will follow it to a point, and then when nobody's around, yeah, hey, Burger King, how's it going? And I mean, I thought Tony could have done it, but I guess he cheated on his diet too many times, and he was done with it.
Let me ask you a hypothetical question. If Jason were to move in, okay, or as close as possible to that, and were to be monitored as close as possible, what do you think Cornelius could do for Jason?
I will tell you this. Cornelius actually messaged Jason and told him this. If he would get serious, he would move him into his house, monitor everything he's done, and train him if he would do it. Seriously, if his mom would do it, he would do it. And I think if that were to happen, Jason could have been the best he's ever been. He'd blow the Adam Harper era away, and he would have made a lot of people's heads turn on the internet. And I believe, not just saying because Cornelius done it with me, I just know the approach that he takes. And for Cornelius to take the time to do that for somebody, that would be – Jason would be – I mean, it would be catastrophic to everybody else what he could do with Jason. If Jason was to ever settle down and do that, I think Cornelius would be the one that can do it. Not just because he's one of my best friends. I know how Cornelius is. I know how he's structured. And when he puts his mind to it and he sets a challenge, it's done.